Everyone, this is Tamara from shelfaddiction.com and welcome to episode 7, an interview with Roni Hall, a book chat live author feature. This is one of many live podcast interviews where I'm exclusively chatting with the talented authors that will be attending Rust City BookCon locally here in Michigan this August. For those of you that aren't in the loop with what Rust City is, I have a link down below in the show notes, or you can go to rustcitybookcon.com. I hope there are a few of you out there that are listening to interact with us on Spreaker. If you are, feel free to chime in with any book-related questions that you may have for Roni. I will read them to her and we will do our best to answer you. Roni is the author of adult contemporary romance title Montana Wild. Hey Roni, thanks for joining me today. How are you?
Hi Tamara, I am fine and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, no problem. It's a pleasure. So how are you this lovely, it is actually a really beautiful day here in Michigan, isn't it?
Good today, but last night was a bit chilly
for June. You know what? It was cold. I feel like it was in the 50s or something.
I think it went to the 40s actually.
Oh.
And windy. It was cold.
I know, but it bounced back though, so that's a good thing.
Good for sleeping.
Oh, yeah, that is true. You know, my husband had the windows open and it was freaking freezing, but...
We did too, but I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Awesome. So let's just jump right on in. So, you know, I know you writers like to read as much as we do. So go ahead and share with us what you're reading right now.
Well, I just finished Me Before You by Jojo Myers. I don't know if I was saying her last name right, but, you know, it's coming out in a movie. I don't know if the movie's out yet, but they're showing the trailers, and I always love to read the book before the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an unbelievable book. Heartbreaking, but I don't want to give things away, but it's a great book.
It is a great book. You know, I read that a couple years ago now, and I actually reviewed it on my YouTube channel. But it's one it shocked me how much I actually bought. I bought that romance and I wasn't sure I'd be able to, but I did. I believed it. So yeah, that was a great book.
It is. It's really a great book. She's a talented writer, but it was a great love story. And, you know, she had to she loved him so much, she had to let go. And it was heartbreaking. I don't want to give anything away to anybody that might be going out to see the movie, but it's a great book. And I'm expecting the movie to be good.
Yeah, I like the main characters that are playing Will and what's her name? Oh my goodness, I can't think of her name right now. But they have some really good actors. I think it'll be good. So you guys out in the audience, if you're gonna go watch this movie, please try to read the book first because this book is phenomenal and you don't want to miss it, right?
Yeah, but take a Kleenex too.
Yes, be prepared for a tear fest because, you know, toward the end you'll probably be crying a little bit.
But I think, you know, the message in there is true love.
Yeah.
It's true love. It really is.
Yeah, speaking of, you know, true love and stuff, being that you're a romance writer of such, what books and authors, you know, or authors would you say kind of influenced you to write romance fiction?
Well, I really like Kristen Higgins. I really like her, The Best Man, My One and Only, but she's come to a couple of the conferences I've been to, and she is so down to earth. I mean, she's incredible. I mean, you think you're just sitting there talking to your BFF. And she still, from what I understand, she goes to her local chapter and still kind of critiques them, and she's amazing. So I love her, but probably wouldn't count as romance. But Stephen King, I mean, the man is king. I'm sorry, but he is, and I just love his books.
I like Stephen King too, and that's a unique choice because you wouldn't expect to hear Stephen King from a romance writer, but.
No, but one of my favorite all-time book was The Stand that he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought that was incredible. I mean, because to me, even though it was sci-fi kind of, it also in some ways was plausible. Because the talk is about this virus that kind of wipes out most of the world, and then the survivors that are left are sort of divided between good and evil, and the showdown. I mean, I thought that was like my favorite all-time book.
You know, it's funny. I did not read The Stand, but I did watch that miniseries, and it was very good.
It was good, and you always get so much more out of a book than a movie.
Always. Isn't that like a rule of thumb? Like the book is always better.
Yes. You're like, yeah, because my other favorite book is Gone with the Wind, and actually in Gone with the Wind, you don't realize she had like 3 or 4 kids. But in the movie, she had 1 kid, so there's so much more in the books than what's in the movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't know she had kids either.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so before we jump into talking about Montana Wild, I do have your trailer here, so let's let the audience take a listen to that, and then we will talk about the book, okay?
Great.
All right, you guys, here is premiered here first, the audiobook trailer of Montana Wild. Take a listen.
Holy crap. I can't believe I just did that. I'm traveling across the country to spend 4 days in the wild with a man I've never met. Jamie, look out! Look behind you! He tried to get her attention, but his voice was thrown back at him. In horror, he watched as the log hit Jamie on her right side, and she went down, disappearing under the water. As she readied for bed, she noticed 3 missed calls on her cell. A sickening wave of nausea washed over her, and her stomach dropped as she recognized the number. Chill. You're in Montana. Still, dread filled her, and her hands shook as she released the phone. Oh God, it's starting again. When he can't find me, maybe he'll let it go. Maybe.
All right, there it was. So,
Yay!
Roni, yes, let's talk about this trailer a little bit.
Oh, I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited. The ebook came out first, then the print book, and then part of me just like, I really wanted to do an audiobook. So it's in progress right now. It's probably 95% done. He sent me the trailer, and I'm just so excited about it. I really am.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the audiobook process. I don't know anything behind the scenes. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, but this is like my opportunity to ask a few questions about it. So tell us a little bit about the process that you've been through in getting the audiobook, together.
Well, I probably cheated because some people can try and do it on their own, but I'm so low tech, as Tamara knows. So I kind of found this great guy online who is a Grammy-nominated audio guy, and we've been just doing all this online back and forth. He sent me some editions of voices to listen to, and that was kind of cool. I felt really kind of cool listening to those and deciding yes and no. So he sent me a couple rounds till I found somebody. The main character is a 31-year-old, very spunky woman, and that's what I wanted. So I found what I think is a lady that really has kind of a spunky voice. She puts a lot of emotion into it, and we've just been doing it all online, and we've been, she had to read through for, the whole book, and we've going through some edits, and we're down to, I think, the last round of edits now, so I'm expecting it to come out within the next week or 2. So I'm so excited. And I'm hoping to do a video trailer on YouTube, but that's my next step.
All right, that's awesome. So you guys know out there, I had a whole podcast dedicated to reading more books, and you guys know that I include audiobooks in that. So, if you're interested to check out Montana Wild, an audiobook might be a good option for you. So let's talk a little bit about Montana Wild. Tell me what the title of this book means. What made you title it, and how does it tie into the story?
Actually, my adult daughter picked the title, and she read it, and we wanted to put the word Montana in there because the bulk of the story takes place in Montana, but she just thought this was kind of a wild adventure because Jamie is a New York City girl, born and raised. She's never been out of New York City. So for her to venture out to Montana, so we just kind of Montana Wild, and Soulmate, my editor, loved that title, so let's go with that. And that's how it happened.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
we know that our main character, Jamie, is 31. So obviously this is geared toward adults, but, it's also kind of contemporary romance. Let's talk about the heat level a little bit. What is the heat level?
I would say there's a lot of, romance, suspense between the two main characters. It's not a 50 Shades, so there's some soft scenes in there, but you can see the building relationship, kind of a deep relationship, and some tension that grows with them throughout the story. And there's some life and death situations that take place in there, which kind of, I think, strengthens their bond.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's cool. Yeah. So what other genres do you think like this title would kind of fit into other than like romance?
Oh, definitely adventure. Definitely adventure, a little suspense, a little thriller even. Some of the reviewers have told me. Because like I said, there's some life and death situations in there, and there's some adventure, there's some whitewater rafting, there's horseback riding, so I kind of hate to coin it as a romance story. I like to think of it as an adventure love story.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I can see that with all the different, sporty adventure aspects. I could totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what gave you the idea for Montana Wild? Like, what made you develop that? What was your process?
Oh, gosh. Part of it came in a dream. I get a lot of inspiration from music, from songs and lyrics. Mm-hmm. So kind of is like a patchwork quilt, kind of, where you kind of like, oh, and I love when I'm writing, I listen to music, and it kind of just inspires me, especially, all the lyrics of love and romance. So it's like, oh, yeah. So it kind of helps feed feed the story.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool because, as we were talking a little bit yesterday, I love a romance, and I always like to know if our characters are about insta love or insta lust.
Yeah.
So Jamie and Kevin, you mentioned kind of it's a slow thing. So obviously it kind of doesn't fall in either category in this case, right?
Right. And they they actually have a phone relationship for a month or so before, because she's a hospice nurse and taking care of his uncle. So they kind of, talking about the uncle, they develop this phone relationship before they ever meet. Mm-hmm. So, which I think kind of builds to the bond that they have.
So it's kind of like sight unseen, like old school blind dates.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what do you like the most about the characters that you've developed for this book?
Well, I love Jamie because I love spunky women that aren't afraid to kind of like, maybe they have to be push themselves a little, but finally speak their mind, take a chance, go for it. Mm-hmm. And Jamie is, like I said, she's a New York City born and bred, and so when she gets invited out to go on this whitewater rafting trip, 4-day trip with this man she's never met, her brain is saying, no, are you crazy? Mm-hmm. But her heart says go for it, and it changes her whole life.
That's cool. So Jamie sounds like she's a very dynamic character. I always love strong characters with a lot of like growth and development. That always makes it more interesting for me. Yeah.
Yep. I love strong women.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of challenges did you come across in bringing Montana Wild to life? Did you do any research for it or?
Well, my husband and I went out to Montana a couple times, but that's actually been many years ago. But I loved Montana. It's beautiful out there. And my brother lives in New York. We visit New York a lot, and I love New York. So mm-hmm. It was kind of just like, I love both, even though they're so opposites. Mm-hmm. I love both of those places, so it was kind of fun to kind of have her go from New York to Montana, and she's kind of torn in the book. She feels like she's betraying New York because once she goes to Montana, she's like, oh my God, I love this.
Wow. So how much of the story do you think is in New York versus Montana?
Oh gosh, just without giving anything away, the beginning and the end are in New York.
Ah, okay. All right. So that's pretty interesting. I do like when a story kind of moves from one place to another, especially like with a city country type. That's such a drastic, polar opposite. So I'm sure she was probably like a fish out of water for a little while.
Well, speaking of fish, because the only pet she ever had before she went to Montana was a goldfish. So now she goes to Montana and she's working in a barn with these horses, and she's like, oh my God, she falls in love with these horses, especially one in particular. So there's a whole, and she always thought people that talked about their love for dogs or animals were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But then she experiences it firsthand, and she's like, oh my God, they're not crazy. I see what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about Kevin. So what kind of character is he, and how, I guess, does he come to find out, or not necessarily, spoiler free, of course, but how does he kind of fall in with Jamie?
Oh, okay. Well, he was the nephew of the patient she was taking care of, and that's how they developed the phone relationship. And he felt like she had helped her so much when his uncle was dying that when she suffered a tragedy, he wanted to repay the kindness. Mm-hmm. And that's why he ended up inviting her out for this whitewater raft ride, because, she was like down and out. She was in the pits. So
Mm-hmm.
he invited her out there. But for Kevin, one of the most attractive features I find in a man is sensitivity. So I tried to make him kind of sensitive, but yet kind of, he was a cowboy, but yet he had a soft side.
Oh, so he's like a man's man and trying to protect her and stuff, but yet be sensitive too.
Yes.
That's attractive. I gotta say, that's attractive.
Very much to women. If any guys are out there listening, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, nobody wants a wimp, but also no one wants to, I'm kind of, I guess I'll say I'm a feminist. Don't tell me what to do, but you can definitely, protect me still.
That's right. And be sensitive to what you want and definitely.
That's a difficult balance to achieve, but I guess that's why the boys in books are better, right?
It is. But I mean, Kevin gets in trouble a few times, so he's not perfect.
Oh, well, that's great. So I really like how it seems that they are with each other. I really like what I'm hearing as far as how the characters kind of grow into each other. That's all good stuff. It's really cool. I like that, it's not insta love. I find that sometimes it's hard to sell insta love. It's easier to sell insta lust. Of course, everyone is lusting over everybody, but that whole, oh, you're my soulmate, I just met you, that's really hard to sell. So this is refreshing.
Yeah, it was nice because they kind of became friends by telephone relationship, and that's what I liked, because and what she says in the movie too, they kind of got to know each other without knowing, what you look like, what your status in life, what you do. It was just kind of just like bare, just talking on the phone in the dark at night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So is there anything else you would like to share with the listeners out there about Montana Wild?
I think it's a great read, full of adventure, love. Even when I was reading or listening to the audiobook, there are parts in there that actually made me cry, because it does pull out some different emotions. So I hope you all take a chance and either read it or listen to it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys, check it out. The link is below in the show notes. So let's talk a little bit about future projects. I know we kind of touched on this the other day, but Montana Wild, could there be a sequel? Are you working on something for Montana Wild?
It was to be a standalone, but a lot of people that read it have asked me about the sequel. And like I told you, Tamara, that, after you live with these characters that you kind of created and live with them for a few years, you don't want to say goodbye to them. So I would love to do a sequel. So yes, I have been trying to brainstorm on that.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm a series girl. Seriously. It's like I'm a fiend for series. Like, I do well with trilogies, but give me a long-running series, and I'm all about it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun to develop some of the secondary characters, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and from the reader's point of view, like when there is a series, you really start to feel like these characters. How they would act. What they would say. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and you don't want to say goodbye to them.
Exactly, and it's sad when it comes to an end, but all good things do come to an end. So yes. Okay, so up next, there's always writers out there listening in the audience. Do you have any advice for aspiring writers?
Yes, don't quit. Do not quit. Because it gets tough at times. I mean, sometimes I have creative periods, and sometimes I have times where, like, oh man, it's just not flowing. I kind of just follow my gut, though, and when I'm creative, I go with it, and when I'm not, I'm not. The other thing I would say is, and I told Tamara this the other day, join a group, like a writers group. I had joined a national group, but it wasn't until I joined my local writers group that I was like, oh my gosh, the women and the men, there's one man, I shouldn't say all women, but they're so supportive of each other and, you know, just so giving and give you tips and encourage you. And not only, and then they also bring in agents and editors to the monthly meetings. It's just great. But the support you get and the friendships you build, I mean, it's priceless.
That's really cool. And plus, you know, you can bounce ideas off of people and, you know, make connections. That's always a good thing, right?
Oh, yeah. And sometimes we'll meet at a coffee shop, bring your laptops and just write. We end up talking a lot, but we do some writing too and bouncing ideas off. So definitely.
Oh, yeah. That's good. That's kind of how I feel about book club.
Yeah.
Find like-minded people, right?
Right. Exactly. And it's fun to bond with people that have the same passion as you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about Rust City since it is right around the corner, literally.
Yep.
So you'll have Montana Wild there, right? Will you have hard copies or e-books?
I will have hard copies, ebooks, and I should have we should have my audios there by then, whether in downloads or CDs. Yep.
Okay, that's cool. So tell me, what are you most looking forward to during Rust City?
I would love to meet readers. I mean, because, gosh, they make what we do worthwhile. It's, you know, and I'm small potatoes, but when somebody comes up to me and just says, I loved your book, I loved your characters, it made me cry, it made me laugh, that just feels so good. It really does. And then sharing this experience, because there's a lot of authors from our local group that's going. Mm-hmm. And it's every time we do one of these things, we just get to know each other more, and we deepen our friendships, and then we support each other. So it's always a blast doing things with them.
Oh, it's going to be a regular party with you guys, huh?
I know. I am really looking forward to it.
That's awesome, because, you know, there's going to be lots of parties and events going on, so lots of time to socialize.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can mix socializing and writing, trust me.
Yeah, I think I saw that maybe the panel list went out today. Did you happen to get that today?
It did, and I was surprised at the length of it. Oh, there were so many choices, and I think I must have signed up for about 20 of them. I don't know which ones they'll pick for me, but, there was a ton of them, so I was pretty excited about all the choices.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, see, I don't even know. I'll be moderating a few of them, as are all the featured bloggers, and I don't even know what I'm going to get yet. So I guess when it's all said and done, she'll just tell us what we're moderating. So.
Well, there's quite a variety. I mean, it really is. I was flabbergasted by how many choices there were. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, we're definitely going to have a packed couple of days, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm. Me too. So outside of Rust City, is there anything else that you're doing this summer that you want to share with the listeners out there?
There's a couple things. I have a cottage in mid-Michigan, and so I've been invited. There's a beautiful garden center up there, Stone Cottage Gardens. It's sort of in mid-Michigan, and they have like an art weekend and a garden party. So I've been invited up there to do a book signing and sell books. And then Liana Lulus in Clawson has a book author night in October. Mm-hmm. So I've signed up for that. Hopefully I've made it in time, hit the deadline, so yeah.
Oh, cool. And Clawson is really close to the area.
Yeah. And if you haven't been there, that's a great store. Oh my gosh.
What's the name of it again? I missed that.
Liana Lulus.
Lulus.
I mean, it's such an eclectic, and they do so many different events there too. So they do an arts thing. It's just a very cool place if you haven't been there in Clawson.
Are they in downtown Clawson or someplace else?
On 14 Mile.
Ah, okay. I'm going to look them up. I feel like I've heard their name before.
It was an old roller skating rink, and so actually some of the salespeople actually go around on the old roller skates.
Oh, that's so unique. That's fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so it's that time. It's time for the lightning round.
Uh-oh.
Fun stuff. It is just, I'll run the rules down to you real quick. It's 60 seconds. I have 60 questions, but I know you won't, don't worry about it. Most people get around 15.
Okay.
Some are book related, some are not. Some are A or B, and you have to answer, one or the other. You can't say neither, and you can't say both. And then some are open-ended questions where you just tell me whatever you want to say about that question.
Okay, you're a tough cookie, Tamara.
Hey,
Okay.
I'm a rules girl. I like rules.
Okay, shoot.
So I have my little phone here, so we're going to set the timer, so don't worry, you won't be answering questions for like 3 minutes or anything crazy.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yep, I'm ready.
Let's start. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
What was your favorite book as a child?
Oh, as a child. Holy crumb.
Teenager.
I think Nancy Drew. Nancy
Drew. All right. Yep. Name your favorite food.
Pasta.
Romance or erotica?
Romance.
Series or standalones?
Series.
Audiobook or bookish podcast?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to go with audiobook here.
All right. Vodka or rum?
Ooh, vodka.
If you could pick one superpower, what would it be?
I would fly.
Oh, cool. Bookstore or library?
Ooh, library.
Immortal gods or fairies?
Fairies.
Cliffhanger or realistic ending?
Cliffhanger.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Name a book that you hid from your parents.
Oh my God.
Okay, we're out of time, so technically you're
good.
safe.
Thank you.
You're saved by the bell.
Yeah, we're going way back on that one.
You know what? It's funny. I actually could tell you several books that I hid from my parents.
Oh, yeah, but you're younger than me, so.
Oh, well, yeah. Maybe a little bit. Well, that was fun. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah, well, it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, before we sign off, do you have any additional tidbits that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yes, in the very first chapter of the book, Kevin tells Jamie over the phone when she's hesitating whether to come out to Montana. He says, "Kiss life in the face," and she takes that to heart. It pretty much means just take chances, live life, venture outside your comfort zone. So I would tell everybody out there to do that. Kiss life in the face.
Oh, that's a great message. I like it.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay, well, thank you, Roni, for joining us. And we are going to say goodbye. Be sure to follow Roni Hall all over social media and pick up a copy of Montana Wild. The links are below in the show notes. And before you go, be sure to hit that follow button on Spreaker or subscribe wherever you get your podcast, because almost every Wednesday night through the end of July, I'll be right here interviewing live authors, and I know you don't want to miss it. Until next time, happy reading. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Tamara.